are working on Raspberry Pi, you can have any number of programs. So you can run them concurrently. You can write a program if two devices are connected on two pins and many other devices are connected on other pins. You can run these programs concurrently. Okay, whereas in Arduino, you run just one application at a time. You want to run another application, it gets stored there by erasing the previous application. Okay. Another advantage is you want to use a new device, it's Linux, so there is a folder called dev, and you just put the driver there, start using it. Most of the manufacturers will give device drivers for Linux. So if you want to use a new camera, just put your driver there, start using it. In Arduino, it would be very difficult. You have to write the library. You have to write header files. You have to connect them properly and do a lot of things. It's much more simpler here. Okay, so that's why we use Raspberry Pi, because then with the same platform you can make a lot of devices, especially in the learning phase when you're not working on a project, you just want to learn. Just like you. Okay, so first you will control some LEDs, then you will control some relays, then you will take some sensors. Okay, but you won't buy a separate Raspberry Pi for each thing, each of these. Okay, so here this feature comes to a big advantage. some some of his feature is very cheap actually, just 2,800 rupees. uh, by the time I prepared this talk, Raspberry Pi 3 is also available, and it's of the same price, $35 for as for Raspberry Pi 2. So I made this talk for Raspberry Pi 2. This is also Raspberry Pi 2. Raspberry Pi 3 has also come up, which has wireless and Bluetooth connectivity inbuilt. Okay, right now if I want to use wireless or Bluetooth, I have to connect a dongle and do things, so one of the port will be occupied by that. So Raspberry Pi 3 comes with the same price with wireless and Bluetooth connectivity added to it. Okay, so that's an added advantage, plus better speed, better RAM. Okay, so Raspberry Pi 3 is very good if you want to do very fast calculations or you want to make devices which interact very fast. But that depends on you what you want to make. If you are controlling a motor, you can't control it very fast depending on its own speed. So you can't switch it in microseconds. You have to work in seconds. So this is good enough for that. And if you see the price, it's actually nothing compared to what you have for the same thing. You would spend many thousands, 60, 70,000 for the very basic board which is commercial. Okay, but then you can't customize it, you can't do this, you can't do that. So open source gives you that facility. These are various models. This is most important for you because now you would like to buy them. So you would go on Amazon, and then a lot of people will start, a lot of shops, a lot of providers will say that, so you can buy the previous ones for very cheap now, because as soon as the new version comes, the old things becomes very cheap. But maybe your application, your device doesn't require the latest or very fast Raspberry Pi. Okay, so Raspberry Pi started in 2012. Bit before that, 2000 2010 they started making the experimental board available to labs. So Raspberry Pi is manufactured by Raspberry Pi Foundation. It's not a company, it's a non-profit organization. So they made this because a lot of people who were working on computers, they thought that they were developers, but they were simply users. If you have a mobile phone and if you're using a mobile phone, you're using a computing device, but you're not a developer, you're a user. People post that, okay, I have this, I can use this application, I can post, but you don't understand the process. Okay, so Raspberry Pi Foundation, uh, people who started it, they wanted people first, they wanted people to become developers. Second, they wanted school kids to understand the electronics and how programming controls electronics. Okay, so this is lacking from our system now. Okay, so electronics students rarely study programming with interest. Well, they study because it's compulsory, so they understand how to write C program, but they don't study how to control electronic device using a C program. Okay, so there's a disconnect between software training and hardware training. So Raspberry Pi was made to bridge this disconnection. So Raspberry Pi Zero was announced at November 2015 and it's just $5. $5 is just 300 something rupees. And it's a full-fledged Raspberry Pi. It can do everything what this board can do. And it's half of its size, 1/4 of this weight. So it's a very small board having full features. Downside is it's not available. As soon as it's made available, everything is sold out. In few seconds, all websites which are selling it, they're out of stock. It's very difficult to get a hand on Raspberry Pi Zero. I've been trying since November. Could not get it yet. Even if you are in US or wherever you are, you just can't get Raspberry Pi Zero because it's $5. $5 is nothing to make a device. And so then the overall cost of your device drops down to anything. This is $35, that's $5, and you can do the same thing, right? So Raspberry Pi Zero is amazing thing. If somebody can get it, get your hands on that. The only thing Raspberry Pi Zero doesn't have is these pins. It has holes for this. You have to solder these pins yourself. That's the only thing it won't have. Otherwise, it will have every other port. Okay, so I will come to that. What does it have, and you can also see yourself, feel the board, see the ports. Okay, some features of it. So this is Raspberry Pi B Plus. Okay, so it has 900 megahertz ARM version 7 quad-core processor. This is also important. It is quad-core. So you can utilize, you can code so that certain codes can go to one of the cores. You can do multiple core processing. You can do multiple core programming. My first laptop was not this fast, and it was so bulky that I used to not carry it usually to my meetings. And then came tablet. I thought, oh, the tablet is a wonderful thing. But then Dr. B.P. Ajit Kumar was here. He was my teacher. He was sitting here. He just went off. So he has developed his own. He's developed his own this thing. So he gave a talk in IIT Bombay, and he just carried this. No laptop, nothing. See how convenient it is. You have to give a talk, keep everything there. It's a computer. Just carry it. No airport security, nothing will stop you. No need to carry your bulky laptops anymore. But you must have your USB mouse, keyboard, and a HDMI monitor. Right? So now we would need to make groups so that you can sit in groups and see the board. Right? So how many people are we? About 50? How many in one group? How many Raspberry Pis you have? 6?
5.
You have 5? So 10 people in one group. And how would they sit?
They can be sitting one bench like this.
Yeah, so 3 here and 2 here. Right? So I would ask you to sit accordingly so that you can see things. Are you prepared?
Yeah.
Please keep one Raspberry Pi in each bench.
Guys with the laptops. Yeah, please. Because
We can take 5 minutes for reconfiguration of everybody. We would have one expert in each group, so they can help you understand. If I'm saying something and you don't understand, they can help you demonstrate how to do it.
So we can have like one group sitting here, here, here,
Yeah.
here, here.
So if you just keep the Raspberry Pi there, they would simply sit there. Those of you who doesn't want to do this thing is fine. But it's always better to see things, because in hardware you don't understand anything if you don't see. If you don't do, you don't understand anything. The board, you would see a photograph here. It looks very similar. So I will explain what is what. Okay, which component is which one. Everybody got a seat? I'll show you what is what. You'll see a Broadcom chip. This is SoC, system on chip. It has processor. If you see the list, this has the processor, quad-core processor, as well as the GPU. Okay, so that's the heart of the computer. The CPU and GPU, both. Okay. Then you have RAM, 1 GB RAM. Okay. And you have some ports. You have for internet connectivity, you have a LAN cable connected here. So there is a port for that. Depending on your version of Raspberry Pi which you have, you might have 2 USB ports or 4. From Raspberry Pi 2 onwards, you had 4 ports. When in old days, not so old actually, because it was just introduced in 2012, when you didn't have so many USB ports, you were using, one USB to multiple USB thing. Okay, so now you don't need, because 2 of the ports are consumed by one by USB mouse and one by USB keyboard. So that's why you would need 2 extra ports to connect something else. Okay, so you would ask, a computer has memory. Where is memory? And where does this operating system loads? Well, RAM cannot hold. RAM is a temporary memory. So you would need memory. So where is memory? So if you see the back side, there is an SD card. On back side there is a micro SD card slot and a SD card inserted there. Okay, can you see from the cover on the back side? Otherwise I can show you there. No, my board doesn't have these things, so I can show you. I better be here then. Okay, this one. Okay. So whatever capacity micro SD card you use, that becomes your memory for your computer. Use 64 GB, you have 64 GB. Use 250 GB, you have 250 GB. Okay, whatever you use, that becomes your memory for your computer. You use 2 GB, you only have 2 GB. Okay?
Is there any limit to it?
Not right now. People have even tested for 250 GB. And they haven't found any problem. But initially when people made this thing, they thought that there's a limit because of the communication lines. They're not very nicely fabricated as usually done in desktops and laptops. But I have used until 64 GB and there hasn't been any issue. Use a very big amount of memory. It all in devices you first plan things. So amongst planning, cost and the amount of data is most important thing. If your device is very fast, suppose you put a sensor and you are monitoring, say, glucose level. Okay, suppose you have a glucose sensor and it's giving an output of data. Now if data comes every nanoseconds, there's no additional help in your analytics. If you get a glucose level every second, that's sufficient. by getting a glucose level data every nanosecond does not give you any additional advantage. You just make your file size bulky. Okay, so in that case, but suppose you are tracking something, suppose you are doing some video processing, okay, and you have very good resolution camera. So of course the file size will be huge. Even 2 minutes of recordings will consume huge amount of memory. So accordingly you plan your uh, uh, SD card, right? But with increasing amount of SD card storage, the cost increases for the whole device. Okay, so these are some of the things which you have to understand. So SD card is the only thing which is important, which is on the back side. Okay, this is on back side in every device. Raspberry Pi 1 had a full-fledged SD card instead of micro SD card. The old one, the big one, so I still had that thing. Apart from that, you see a lot of pins. If you count and tell me how many of these, just count and tell. Approximately these are pins, so either they will be 20, 30, 22, 40, 20? Check out. 40. There are two sets of pins, 20 on each side. Okay, so these are the pins which are important to us, because we will be connecting our devices through these pins, and for making connections you would require wires, connecting wires, right? And do you have connecting wires? Connecting wires, eh? So we'll provide you with connecting wires when we start doing things. Yeah. So I can show the connecting wires so that when I say male, female, you would identify. Okay. With connecting wires, either you can use any kind of wire. Okay. But if you use these kind of wires, you would need to solder the wire to the pin. If you use these kind of wires, you would need to solder these wires to the pin. Now problem with soldering is you solder them, remove them, solder them, remove them, so ultimately you destroy the pin. Okay, that's why you use these kind of wires which are connected with a very standard thing. Now how do you say, you would say that how would you connect this to a pin? Again you would have to solder. So I have some wires which we call male and female. These have male at their ends. So female plugs at one point and male plugs on one point will be used, because male plugs will go into the breadboard. How many of you know about breadboard? Some of you know. Okay. So this is a breadboard. No problems, I can teach because I am a teacher, so I am used to these things. So this is a breadboard. On a breadboard, vertical lines are connected. Horizontal lines are not connected in between. Horizontal lines are connected at the ends, and vertical lines are not connected. So if I put a LED like this, and if on the same vertical line I put up a wire and give it some voltage, that voltage will go to this pin. Right? So you make your circuit like this. It's a temporary circuit. So breadboards are for prototyping on. These wires cannot be used. I have different ones. Otherwise I can give you some wires. I brought some wires. Now apart from this, if you see a Raspberry Pi, it has an HDMI port. This is an HDMI port. Your Tata Sky has a HDMI connection. So you can connect it to your TV. Your TV becomes a monitor. If your laptop has an HDMI port, and if you connect this with a HDMI cable to your laptop, it won't work, because that HDMI port is connected through your processor. You would need the driver, which is usually not available. So you cannot use your laptop screens. This was an issue in making this workshop hands-on. Otherwise, if I had HDMI screens with everybody, I would simply arrange for 50 or 60 of these. My university can arrange for that, and I would have done it individually. I would have trained you individually. The issue is having so many HDMI monitors. We can't have. So we'll circumvent that. You can see that you can still work with your laptop by remotely logging in. Okay, anyway. So this is the HDMI port. You just put a HDMI cable here, another in a monitor, they start showing up. Okay. These are 4 USB ports, all kind of USB devices. So apart from this, if you need a memory, you put a memory stick here, USB. Any kind of pen drive. So if you have a hard disk which is 1 terabyte, I have a 3 terabyte hard disk. So then my computer has 3 terabyte memory. All kind of external memories are supported by default. Okay, it doesn't have any problem in my 3 terabyte also. Okay. Apart from that, you see one port here and one port here. Okay. These are special ports which you won't find in any other platform apart from Raspberry Pi, because one of these, the one which is closer to HDMI, is for monitors which are specially made to work with Raspberry Pi, and this one is made for Raspberry Pi camera. So Raspberry Pi Foundation also comes with its own camera which is supported by default by Raspberry Pi platform. You don't have to install anything, but you have to connect it here. So all kind of video processing, everything is done using these cameras usually, because it's then very simple. Otherwise, you connect your camera to a USB port through some other ports, and you must install those drivers, you must give the proper path so that everything works well. Okay, these 2 ports are special to Raspberry Pi. For audio, you have an audio jack. So if you connect a mic, you can feed your audio signals. If you connect earphones, you can listen to things. Okay, so you can make this as a media server at your home. You can put a very heavy hard disk here, and then you can store all your movies, everything. You connect to your TV, and that becomes your media server. Okay, and you can control it using internet. Right? So I hope enough interest has been generated now. You're not feeling very bored? Usually I'm a very boring person. That's true. Ask my students. There are some of my students there. Okay. You would also need to give power. Without power, nothing works. This is a power connector. This is same as Samsung based mobile phone power connectors. And it works with your mobile phone connector also, as well as your USB cable which charges your mobile phone. So either you buy a new one, or you use your mobile phone connectors. Okay. As soon as you connect, there is an LED which starts lighting up. It's on one side and it's red in color. So can you connect now? Everybody connects? Okay. So most important thing, as long as you are connected, don't remove your memory card. If Raspberry Pi is on and you remove your memory card, OS gets disturbed, and it cannot be predicted how it gets disturbed. So you might corrupt your whole system. Okay, and if you're working on very important things, you don't want to do that because you configured it in certain way. So you must take a backup, otherwise you're gone. All your data is gone, right? So when you and it doesn't have a power on and power off switch. Okay, so how would you switch it off? How do you switch your laptops? You have a switch there, right? So this is Linux. You write a command shut down now, and it shuts it down. So shut down now से shut down होगा, उसके बाद आप power निकालेंगे, उसके बाद आप अगर memory card निकालना चाहते हैं निकालिए, वरना उसको कभी मत निकालिए. It has OS, it has all the files. You don't need to remove it. Okay? I think I covered everything. There's nothing other than this. Whatever the small components you see are circuits, circuit components, some capacitors and resistors. So you don't need to care about those things unless you want to make your own board. Right? Okay. you must understand how we install this OS. So installing OS is very simple. Just format your card. If this is a micro SD card, either your laptop must have a slot to insert or you should use an adapter. Okay? Using the adapter, format your card. It should be formatted. It should be a fresh card. Just format your card and drag and drop what we have Noobs. If you go on this website, you see this software called Noobs, Noobs. Okay? This is a zip file. Unzip it and drag and drop on your SD card. That's it. Okay? Now when you connect a monitor, a laptop, a mouse and a keyboard, and as soon as you power up, it shows up. Okay? And it shows a lot of options. A lot of options of operating systems. One of them is Raspbian. You can install all kind of operating system. You can install a Mac OS here. You can install Windows here. Everything is supported. Okay? But we would use Raspbian because Raspbian is a version of Debian which is optimized for Raspberry Pi. If you use other systems, then you have to take care about the libraries and everything else which doesn't come with that operating system. Okay? People in hacking community use Raspberry Pi with Kali Linux because it's very handy. You just drop it somewhere and remote login and do all your work. Nobody will catch you. How many of you know about Aaron Sharon? All your ebooks are because of him. He's the only person who gave all the ebooks to the whole world. So what he did was he took a Raspberry Pi. He was an MIT student. Took a Raspberry Pi, went to the MIT server room, connected that Raspberry Pi using his own account, okay, and then came back. And from anywhere in the world now he can do anything with the MIT server. So he used the MIT account to download a lot of ebooks, journals and everything and put them on torrent for anybody to download now. So since MIT license was legal, so nobody suspected anything, so he did this for many months. And then later on, when things happened, unfortunately he did suicide. He was prosecuted and he did suicide. So he used Raspberry Pi. If you use Kali Linux here, then you are very secure. Okay? So then, so essentially you can use any kind of operating system. It's a computer. In your computer you can install anything. It's your computer, you can install anything. But I would say you should use Linux. If you use Windows and Mac OS, then you must have a legal version. Okay? No piracy. So just open up Noobs. As soon as you connect your monitor, it comes up. Choose Raspbian, click install, it installs everything. Installation hardly takes 2 minutes. Okay, so in 2 minutes your computer is up and running. Right? We have already done that. So when you will see, you won't have an issue of it installing. You will just see the installed version. Okay? Okay. Well, you can connect afterwards because we still have time. You must understand these things first, right? Now, most of the monitors have VGA, right? Most of the monitors have VGA port, and this has a HDMI port. It doesn't have a VGA port. So you must either have an adapter or you can't work. Okay? So if your monitor, if all TVs have HDMI port, so all TVs can easily become the monitors. But if your if your regular monitor doesn't have an HDMI port, you must use an adapter, HDMI to VGA adapter. Otherwise, you can't work. Okay, it doesn't have a VGA port. Keyboards, again the same thing. Most of the keyboards and mouse now use USB port. If you don't have, if you are using the old ones, PS1, PS2, then you must have either an adapter or you can't work. Okay. Then 2 ampere to your pi board, it burns it down. And it burns down unpredictably. So you can't repair it then. Okay, so power can never be more than 5 volt and 2 ampere. So you must have a very good power adapter. The local power adapters available, they never ensure there's always never more than 5 volt and 2 ampere. So 5 volt can locally it can be 5.5, 6, and 2 amperes can be 1.5, 1.1, or sometimes 7. So they don't regulate power very well. So use a very good power adapter, right? Setting up is very simple. I already explained. Just connect your monitor, everything starts running. That's it. If you want more instructions afterwards, after this lecture, if you want to work with Raspberry Pi, you can use the slide to do things step by step, right? Okay, so let me show you how this looks, because I can show this thing. I need an HDMI connection. I need an HDMI cable. HDMI cable. Worked on Linux, so you know that you can customize everything. You can customize the booting process, you can customize whether it boots in text mode or graphic user interface, you can customize everything, right? So you can do the same thing with Raspberry Pi. As soon as it boots up, you can either go to text GUI or you can go to either a text or a GUI, right? It also uses something called Scratch. So you can boot into an application called Scratch. This is for kids because, as I said, Raspberry Pi was also intended to teach programming to kids. It's very cheap, very inexpensive. It's $35. Anybody can afford this. Spoken Tutorial guy, he came up with a laptop of 7,500. This is a laptop for less than that, definitely. USB keyboard, mouse, they won't add up to 7,500. So you can make a computer for less than 4,000, 5,000 rupees. Okay, all these cables, everything won't add up to 7,500. Okay, but you have to buy these things and connect them properly. His laptop was a full-fledged computer, right? So Scratch, one can configure to Scratch so that it boots there. Usually when you want to teach kids, you configure it there so that anytime they boot on, they will simply go to Scratch. And Scratch is a programming environment for very small kids. So they can play around and learn computer things, okay? So Scratch is that application. We won't work with Scratch right now, right? Okay, so for configuration, Raspberry Pi has a very small script called raspi-config. So if one simply writes that thing, I'll show you that if you simply write this thing, then it goes to configuration and gives you a lot of options. So you just choose while booting what happens, and afterwards what happens. Let's speak something from Internet of Things point of view. When applications are very heavy, when your devices needs a lot of processing, you would think about overclocking. Overclocking is going beyond the capacities of your processor. So if your processor is set for 1 gigahertz, going at 1.1, 1.2, sometime even to 1.5, you can actually go there. That's called overclocking. Okay, overclocking must be done judiciously. In computers, if you are working only in softwares, you don't care about hardware things in overclocking. But in Internet of Things, this would be very important. Okay, why? Because overclocking would mean increasing the frequency. Now there are a lot of things on your board. There is a CPU, there is a GPU, there are SRAMs, there are a lot of components, and they all work at different frequencies. So overclocking means increasing the frequency. So if you are increasing just one of them, signals might not match. If you increase the frequency at one end and don't increase the frequency at other end, so your signals will come at a slower rate than it is expected. So your system will crash. So overclocking, if you want to perform overclocking for becoming very fast and very efficient computationally, it's not a straightforward thing. Okay, so I just put up a slide so that I can emphasize that overclocking must be done very, very judiciously. Second thing, what happens in overclocking is this does not have a cooling. There's no fan there to cool things. Overclocking will heat up. Okay, so if things heat up and you don't have a cooling system, you'll burn it down, right? So either you put up a fan or a cooling system, design a cooling system. If it's not too much of heating, a fan will work. Otherwise you have to use liquid nitrogen based systems and then do the overclocking, right? So let me show you how everything looks like. So I'll simply put HDMI connector here, okay, and I'll put VGA connector from my laptop. Nothing comes up. Why? Power. No power. The username is Pi and the username and password. You can use remote desktop connection but if you do this, things will be very slow. So ultimately I would actually not do this. I will simply make an SSH using, if you are working on Linux and Mac, you can use your terminal. Otherwise on Windows you use a software called PuTTY for remote SSH, okay, secure shell. And we will simply use shell, nothing else. We won't use your GUI. So I am connecting to one of your boards, okay. Depending on the speed, this will be very slow, and I think it would be very slow today. A lot of people are connected. So you can see it's a full-fledged desktop, okay. If you click menu, if you click menu, go to programming, you see Python 2 and Python 3. How many of you program in Python 3? Okay, some of you already have. I have never programmed in Python 3 before coming to Raspberry Pi. The Raspberry Pi pin, GPIO pin library is written only for Python 3. That's why I have to use Python 3, otherwise I never used. Okay. But you can use Python 3 and Python 2 both, right? Apart from that, you can use Java, Mathematica, this is Scratch. Apart from these softwares, this is Debian, basically. So you can install other softwares by sudo apt-get install, anything you can install. Okay. For that you would need a terminal. So this is terminal. Okay. When you open terminal, you see pi@raspberry Pi, right? So the machine name is Raspberry Pi, the user is Pi, and the password is Raspberry. By default, this is the case. Okay. So since I set everything, you can hack my board and start doing anything on my board. Okay. So as soon as you make your board functional, change the password immediately. Because if you don't change your password, make your device, demonstrate it anything, anybody can hack because it's very simple. Everybody knows their password is Raspberry. Okay? You can make a different user also, but then you have to give those privileges. Okay? By default, Pi is the user which has all the privileges. Okay. Let me show some other things, then we start working here. Okay, this is what I told. Pi is the username, Raspberry is the password. This is the file structure, same as Linux, nothing different. Okay, so it has bin folder for programs, binaries. It has a root folder, which is the super user. So your user is the super user. Okay, so unless you change the password, but don't change it now because maybe I'm also logged into your machine. Then if I have to do something, I won't be able to do it, right? So for this workshop we won't change it, but afterwards when you start working you must change. Okay, these are some simple instructions, try to do them. Those of you who are logged in the machine, try to see where are you by printing pwd, print working directory. Try to see the files, try to change, try to make a folder by makdir. So I'll demonstrate some of these things. I don't think you can see it nicely. Let me change. It's almost white. Okay. So pwd, print working directory. So by default the user is Pi. So I log in that folder by default. Okay. You can configure using raspberry -config, and you can say where you log in by default. Okay. So first time this is the behavior. Then you can change the configuration in any way you want, right? You can see by ls, you can see the files. I have folders called desktop, document, or downloads, music, picture, just a regular desktop, right? You might have it differently depending on the version of Noobs. Okay, so some of you might not see templates or Python games or something. You should try these Python games. Let's try some. So in my class, when I taught this, I had to go out. My dean called me for 5 minutes. When I came back, everybody was playing games. All students were playing games, and they were so happy that just one small computer and they can play any game there. So they were playing Minecraft or something. Okay. Oh, I think it was cancelled. Okay. You can see it's a computer, so you can, and because it has a very decent GPU. So even very good games which you consider good, like very good quality graphics and everything, can run nicely here. Okay, but not beyond the capacities of GPU provided. And since it's on a chip, you can't do anything. You have to live with it. You can't change the GPU here. You can't change the CPU and GPU on this board. That's the only limitation you have. Okay, so for that you would need to make your own board. You have a full-fledged office environment. You can go to office. You have LibreOffice environment here, so you can work for your office things. You can make your reports, everything. Some students in my university nowadays comes with just with a Raspberry Pi. They don't even carry their laptops and tablets. They just come with their Raspberry Pi, and we are working on some things that they can just plug in their Raspberry Pi permanently somewhere, and they can work from anywhere on that computer by remote login, right? I think eventually humans will lose all the muscle capacity, because we don't want to carry anything. You know, when the computers became very light, even then we don't want to carry them. Raspberry Pi is just 80 grams, I think. Okay, so how do you make a directory? mkdir, let's say my name, then you go cd and my name. Okay, so there's no end. Like, these are very basic things, most of you already know these things. Okay, so I won't repeat them. You can test for 2 minutes. I will show you some things to test. You can check out yourself. Try to do these things which I have listed. If you have issues, some of you are experts, so you can help each other. Computer. Okay. So I just made a small exercise. You can try this exercise afterwards. Okay. So if you, how many of you have worked on Nano? Some of you have worked on Nano. Okay. So if you can help others while I am doing this, because I would use Nano. It's a text-based text editor. Okay, so on the command line itself you do everything. You don't need a gedit or another things. GUI based. Okay, these things I don't need to. Yeah, Python, that's most important. We are in a Python workshop. Okay, so as soon as you write Python, I don't know where is it. Style me monospace. Maybe programs. Okay, you are running on a very small computer Python. So it's a by default. If I use Python, I go into Python 2. If you use Python 3, then you must use Python 3. Okay. So this is by default Python 2.7.9. Print hello world. It prints hello world. That's it. Okay. So you can write all kind of programs. You can write all kind of scripts, and it also has a GUI. Ideally, so you can write your code and run them in a GUI also. I think the only advantage you have is the color coding. You know, otherwise I don't use these things because I don't see that as a very big advantage. Okay, check out if you have IPython by default. So to exit, you use exit function. So you don't have IPython by default. So if you want to install, what do? Sudo apt-get install IPython, right? Okay, so it starts installing. Okay, depending on your speed, it will take some time. I won't do that. I'm just cutting it short. Control C, you can come out of it. Okay, so let's start doing something. Let's start making some Internet of Things device. Finally, these are some basic things which I just told. This is the pin structure. Okay, so I need to zoom it so that you can see, because you must know the so there are 40 pins. How would you know which is pin number 1?
There will be some dot.
So can you see some dot? There's no dot. So how would you know which is pin number 1, which is pin number 40, 25? There's no numbering there. Okay? So you hold your Raspberry Pi like this, where LAN cord goes down. The topmost, rightmost pin is 1. Next to it is 2. So it goes like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? That's the pin number. That's a big disadvantage, that you don't have pin numbers on the board, so you make a lot of mistakes. And this diagram must be with you always. Even I don't remember this. Some pins are what we call, all these pins are called GPIO, general purpose input output. So the same pin, you can make it as an input pin or as an output pin. Okay? There is no dedicated input and output. So the same pin for one program can be input, for another program can be output. That's why it's called GPIO, general purpose input output. Some of the pins are for powering. Some pins can power 5 volts. So if in your circuit you need 5 volt, just connect it here. Okay? Top 2 pins are 5 volt. There's a pin for grounding, because every circuit needs to be completed, so it must be grounded. So wherever you have a ground, you connect there. Right? There is a ground at pin number 6, 14, 20. Okay? Some pins you see some other information also. Okay, but there is a 5 volt power as well as 3.3 volt power. Okay, so some circuits will require 5 volt, some circuits will require 3.3 volt. So if you are at 5 volt, okay, and you require 3.3 volt, either use this or use a voltage drop. Okay, you can make a voltage divider also. This is also 3.3 volt, 17. So first and foremost thing, before making connections, you must identify the pin and join accordingly. If you make a mistake, Raspberry Pi is not intelligent enough to rectify your mistake, and this might destroy your project. Okay? Or the board. Most often it destroys your device, not the board, because it has some protection inside. Okay? Some of the pins you can see that they have some extra features. SP10, okay, and SP10 has MOSI, MISO, SCLK. Okay, so these are special protocols for connectivity. Okay, so these are serial protocols. Okay, I won't explain these things because these things are beyond the scope of this thing. We will simply now connect an LED. Okay, so I will show you a program. First, understand the program. This is a Python program to blink an LED connected at pin number 13. When I say pin number 13, the positive leg of LED must be connected to pin number 13 and negative leg of LED must be connected to either of the grounds. So there are ground pins. Okay. So some people will help you here how to connect. Positive leg of pin number 13. How do you identify positive leg of an LED? LED has one long leg and one short leg. The long leg is for the positive one.
Do we need resistors?
If your LED, you can use my LEDs, they won't need anything. They can run at 3.3. Okay, he asked for resistors. By the time he is connecting, I'll explain why. LEDs usually run at 1.5, 1.7. You have 3 volt here. If you provide 3 volt, LED will burn. So what you do is you provide a voltage drop. You provide a resistor, calculate this value so that it provides a voltage drop of extra voltage across itself and just gives 1.7 volt to LED. Okay? So we'll make a quick connection. So you connect at pin number 13 and 14. 14 is ground, 13 is GPIO. GPIO 27. If you see this program, there's an library called rpi.gpio. This is a Python library. This is written only for Python 3.
They are asking which is the pin number 13.
Pin number 13 you have to count. Let me...
Right was top is first.
मैं बता देता हूँ आपको. Seventh pin on the right. Seventh pin on the right. Pin number 7 on the right. Number 7 is 7th pin.
It's 7th on the left.
Okay, मेरा right आपका left उल्टा हो जाएगा. आप help कर दो. Mr. Amandeep can help.
Top row.
Left side. 7th.
Okay, everybody did this connection? Write this program now. Okay. Just listen to me for 2 minutes and then you can do Okay, basically, uh, the most important thing is to import the libraries properly. Capital letters must be written capital, so the R is capital. Okay, if you make this mistake, program will not run. Okay, so you import two modules called GPIO as well as time. Time is used for this function called sleep. Okay, so you would give a pause. Blinking means putting on for certain time and putting off for certain time. Okay, so putting on would give in hardware putting on would mean give current. Okay, then pause for certain time so that it remains on. Then take off the current and give a pause again. Okay. Before that, this is also important. Setup mode must be defined that you are working. There are two kind of number systems for Raspberry Pi. When you say pin number 13, you are using a number system called board. So you must write this name so that it understands what is 13. Okay? Then you define that your pin number 13 is an output pin. You would give data to it. When you connect a sensor, you define it as an input pin. You take data from it. Okay? Then you define an infinite loop. While true will remain always true. So it's an infinite loop. The LED will keep on blinking forever. If you write a condition here for 5 seconds, it will do that thing only for 5 seconds. Okay? Then GPIO output 13 true. This would mean that give data at this pin. This would mean that don't give data at this pin. This will provide signal at 13, this won't provide any signal at 13. Okay, so the program is very obvious. Try to do this now.